State Department. President Donald Trump says he is in no rush to finalize a deal with North Korea and remove sanctions. "I would love to take the sanctions off, but they have to be responsive too. It's a two-way street," Trump said during a lengthy White House news conference Wednesday. He told reporters he has made more progress with North Korea than any other administration and that he still plans another summit with Kim Jong Un early next year. Trump spoke just hours after Thursday's scheduled meeting between U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and senior Kim advisor Kim Jong-chul was called off. File, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, right, and Kim Jong-chul, a North Korean senior ruling party official, arrived for a lunch at the Park Hwa Guest House in Pyongyang, North Korea, July 7, 2018. Neither side gave any firm reason why the talks were postponed other than State Department Deputy Spokesman Robert Palladino calling it purely a matter of scheduling. "We're in a pretty good place right now. We are confident going forward," Palladino told reporters. "We're not going to be driven into artificial timelines." The talks in New York were largely seen as paving the way for the second Trump-Kim summit. They first met in Singapore in June. In announcing the now postponed meeting, the State Department said the two men would discuss making progress on all four pillars of the Singapore summit joint statement, including achieving the final, fully verified denuclearization of North Korea. Kim and Trump signed an agreement in June to rid the Korean peninsula of nuclear weapons. However, the two sides have been at odds over the pace of Pyongyang's efforts to end its nuclear weapons program. North Korea warned last week that it will consider reviving its nuclear weapons program if the United States fails to lift its crippling economic sanctions against the regime. North Korea is also seeking a peace treaty with the United States and South Korea that will formally end the 1950-53 Korean War that split the Communist North from the Democratic South. File, journalists look around the third tunnel of Punggye-ri nuclear test ground before it is blown up during the dismantlement process in Punggye-ri, North Hamgyong Province, North Korea, May 24, 2018. The fighting ended with an armistice. The North and South never signed a peace treaty and are still technically at war. Meanwhile, Russia has asked the UN Security Council to meet Thursday to discuss UN sanctions against the North. It is unclear exactly why Russia called the meeting and what it wants to talk about. Both Russia and China have said they believe the North should be rewarded for stopping missile tests and opening a dialogue with the United States. Inter-Korean relations. While both the U.S. and South Korea want peace and stability on the Korea Peninsula, there is a fear that fast-developing inter-Korean relations may get out of step with Washington, according to former U.S. officials and experts. The fear from America's perspective would be that the South Koreans might go too fast and agree to things that would involve, for example, our troops, our economic postures that we wouldn't be prepared to give at this stage, without perhaps getting significant concessions on reductions of weapons testing, retired U.S. Ambassador Christy Kenny said Wednesday. You could have a situation that South Korea and North Korea come to some kind of agreement and then suddenly there's an expectation that we would fall into line with that, we would be willing to put scarce budget dollars into helping North Korea economically, without having laid the groundwork or gotten enough concessions to make that possible, Kenny said at an Asia Society event that discussed U.S. policy toward Asia after the midterm elections. Keeping these things in sync is always a challenge, said former Assistant Secretary of State for East Asia and Pacific Affairs Danny Russell. It's a lot easier when the North Koreans are misbehaving. That tends to promote solidarity between Washington and Seoul, Russell said. When the North Koreans are seemingly opening the door, then those differences in priorities and perspective can create tensions. The immediate priorities of reconciliation, family visit, and potential for infrastructure and trade between North and South Korea look a lot different from Seoul and from Washington, as does the global non-proliferation agenda, he added.